said, be brave, my son, I'll be home soon. The boy held on to hope till he got that awful news. And as they folded up the stars and stripes, 21 guns pointed towards the sky. As the shots rang out, he flinched a little each time. Then a soldier in his best dress walked up to him, and you know the rest.
This show is brought to you by Operation Encore. Operation Encore is a 501c nonprofit that is helping change the lives of our veteran community. Let me tell you a little bit about what they do. They are helping veterans get into the music industry. They're helping them learn the business, get songs recorded, and not only that, making dreams happen. You know, most of these veterans have got the idea of becoming a musician way before they went into the military. And Operation Encore is filling that gap from while they served in the military and helping them change their lives and live out those dreams. Operation Encore is a nonprofit. You can go to this link right there and click on it, give them a little help, hit that donate button, follow them, learn about all the great things that Operation Encore does for our veterans. Hey, welcome everybody to Spirits and Stories. I'm your host, Donald Dunn, man. So, you know, I got a good friend of mine that's going to come on this show today. He's got an amazing podcast. And when it comes to the paranormal, I'm going to tell you, he is at the top of his game. This man travels across the United States, does multiple events, and he's also got a podcast called Shaman Sundays, live with Brandon Cooper. He is a Marine veteran, and he is here to be with us today. So let's bring him on, man. What is up, man?
Yes. Hey, look at there.
I've seen, man. It looks amazing.
Yes. Gunroom Radio, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's up, man?
No, I'm not, man. So tell me a little bit, man. Let's back up and give people an idea of what brought you to the Marine Corps of all places, man.
Boy, funny story. Very funny story. And wow, I've got feedback. Hang on.
Okay.
All right. My dials were okay. Anyway, we're good. So I tried the college thing, right? 1999, graduated from high school. Tried the college thing. I was like, this is stupid. I don't like this. Just so happened to be riding by the recruiter's office, and I'd always been like, you know, the nerd. I was skinny as crap in high school, like a $120, you know, and I'm like, I got to do something with my life. My grandfather, he served in World War II. He was a friggin' war hero, 2 Purple Hearts, Bronze Star. He was there at Normandy. So I was like, let's just walk in. Which one's the hardest branch? Marines. Cool. Let's see if I can do it. And I wish I had a more honorable story, but it was just like, I just want to see if I could be a Marine. Yeah. Funny part is, I didn't tell my parents that I had joined until the recruiter came to pick me up for MEPS.
How did that go over?
Oh, it didn't. It did not go over well at all. I didn't care. I mean, I knew how my parents were going to react.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'd set it up that way. And, you know, I depped in 99. I went to boot camp down at the island in 2000, January 2000. And, you know, had the what in the F am I doing moment.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, several in that hell week starting out. And I'm like, this is dumb. I'm an idiot. You know, and I'm sitting there thinking, because my uncle is a full bird colonel in the Air Force, and he worked with Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Yeah.
Plus, he was an instructor at the Air Force Academy, so he was trying to get me to go Air Force. Well, that's when I'm really debating I should have went Air Force, when I'm sitting there and I'm looking at these drill instructors and they're terrifying me because I've never seen anything like it. But man, it worked out. It worked out great. I served from 99 to 07. I wanted to make a career out of it, but you get blown up one too many times. The old noggin doesn't quite work, and I was EOD.
Oh yeah,
So if I can't remember, or if it's not
red wire or blue wire? Fuck, I
right.
don't remember.
Well, half the times they were like all kind of different colors, and
Yeah,
but yeah. So I ended up I'm 100% disabled through the VA, uh, which is fine, and we can talk about that later on. But I mean, I served in Iraq, Afghanistan. I did not do 68 months, Mister Army man.
uh, well, I just had to do more to figure out how to be like you, man. It just took me longer.
Well, I understand that Army stands for ain't real Marines yet, and I get that.
Yeah,
And you tried, but
yeah.
you know, only 0.01% can look this good.
That is true, man. That is true. I mean, and you're not done fighting, man. You're like now a Ghostbuster and shit, man. You're out there. They're fighting the good fight and telling everybody about the paranormal, man. You got me listening.
Oh, dude, I'm glad. So, like what you had mentioned in the commercial earlier, that most uh, veterans knew they wanted to be a musician
Mhm.
prior to enlistment. Same with me in the paranormal. I've been doing this since I was 8 years old. Um, so a good 30 plus years in there. And I finally got to where, yes, I do travel the U.S. I'll be in St. Joseph's, Missouri in like 2 weeks, I think. And then I've got a gig in Vermont. I've got an investigation coming up on the USS North Carolina, private investigation. So yeah, I'm all over the place, man, but I
Yeah,
love it. I love
I bet, man. Look, I love the paranormal as well. I've never been to your level, but I love watching and listening because at the end of the day, I do believe. You know, I fully believe that when my dad passed away, before we put him in the ground, I remember seeing him walk past the front door.
Yep.
Because I
Yep.
I remember walking and I stopped and I looked because it looked like somebody was looking in the door. And then I said, "Oh, that's just dad." And then I dawned on me, dad's dead, you know. And I looked again and it was gone. And so I do believe, and I've had some other events that happened as well. And I wasn't the only person there. My wife was there with me, so she can contest to it too. And so, yeah, I fully do believe. Um,
Well, and I guarantee you, I can say that you probably had an experience on base housing at some point.
yeah.
I've noticed a lot, especially in Germany. For some reason, base housing was like always haunted.
Well, look at
Uh,
look at how many people died on the grounds. I mean, I guarantee you there was blood on every
yep.
base that we currently are operating on back in the world wars. You know,
Oh yeah.
I don't know that you could go anywhere without finding a place where there was a battle somewhere nearby, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. Especially here where I live. I live in the South. I live in South Carolina, and I mean, people ask me why is the South so haunted, and it's an easy thing. Anything that's everything that came through the U.S. started in the South.
Mm,
All the ports were here in the South. Everything was, came through here. Civil War, Revolutionary War. So, yeah, it's kind of hard to find a spot where probably blood wasn't soaked.
yeah,
And, my role in being a paranormal investigator is to go in, and what I like to do is use the scientific knowledge that I have in equipment to let them tell their story. Because in theory, a lot of people stick around because they got unfinished business, is one of the theories. Well, if we go in there and let them tell their story or get the information out, then they seem to cross over. I've worked with a lot of people who have gotten murder convictions off of spirits. So I mean, it's possible, but and it's also fun. Not only do I get to go and explore the unknown and unseen, but I get in these super historical locations, and like the people are pretty much, well, here's the keys. See you tomorrow. Like places that aren't open to people. I did an investigation last year of a apartment that hadn't been open since the 30s. Like, and we were the first people to walk through that threshold since the 30s.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's what gets me excited is the history. I like,
Yeah, me too. I like
yeah,
history too.
yeah. And then when you can tie it in and have a little fun and do a little paranormal investigating, I mean, for me, and that's it's a way that helps me with my post traumatic stress. I can get out, uh, and I don't have to worry. I'm focused on the equipment. I'm focused on the history. I'm not worrying about, oh, I shouldn't have blasted that kid or whatever
Right.
overseas. So I mean, it helps a lot. And I've taken some, I've taken some veterans out. I took Jessica Lynch, the former POW, took her on her first ghost hunt, and you know, it's relaxing.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine. At the end of the day, your mind is not going to be on anything else. You
Nope.
know, no different than you know most times when you go out on mission when you are deployed. Your mind
Yes.
doesn't drift back to other scenarios. It's too busy making more messed up memories. You
Right.
know,
Exactly.
and paranormal would be the same way. You're going to be rewiring your brain into a whole nother type of mission now, and looking at new stuff. Your mind is going to be focused. And I've noticed anything that requires concentration followed with instructions. So you and
Yep.
Jessica Lynch, I'm sure when you're there, you're like, okay, while we're here, you need to look at this, you need to do it this way. And she's
Yep.
memorizing these rules, because us military guys, man, we need to have some structure,
Yep.
and it's all by the numbers. That's what we're used to. And so I've noticed, even with all these nonprofit hunting trips, right? The ones that are successful versus the ones that are not are the ones that have
Yeah.
a training portion leading up to the hunt,
Yes.
versus just saying, hey, there's a stand over there, go sit in there for 8 hours, and letting the veteran sit in there holding a gun and doing nothing but thinking. You know, you got to give
Right.
him something to focus and concentrate on. And I've noticed those are more successful than the latter. So it makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, and I mean it's just a different aspect. The camaraderie's there, especially if something scares everybody at the same time. R- Trauma bonding at its finest.
Yeah.
But at the end, because when I took her, there was another Marine that came down, and his wife was a captain in the Army. She came down. They're big into the paranormal. So after we were done investigating, we did a campfire and we just sat around and shot the shit. And, you know, that's where the camaraderie part really came in. And
Yeah.
then, especially like sitting and listening to somebody like Jessica Lynch.
Got an
I
amazing
mean, I've heard
story.
her story. Yeah, I've heard her story so many different times. I've had her on my show. I'm um, trying to get her to come on your show.
I'm leaving dates open.
Right.
Jessica, hit the
Jessica,
button.
hit the button. Now I have to remind her because she's a lot like us. She's got CRS.
Yeah.
Plus, she's all over the place. Like this is her busy season with motivational speaking and all that. But she will be on your show, Donald Dunn.
Man, she's welcome, and I can't wait to hear her story. I followed everything, all the way down to even watching some of the predator feed, and so
Yep.
it really is fascinating. And when you dig into her story, man, she's got a lot of powerful stuff that happened, and she did some heroic things here in the States afterwards, you know.
Oh, that's where the
So
heroism came in.
yeah, I agree. So my hat's off to her, brother. Well,
Yeah, but it's and it's places like that, environments like that, that is conducive to Well, what if is there something that you haven't said that you need to get off your chest because it's just us in the campfire?
Yeah.
So
Well, you
you know,
talked earlier about the history, right? About how, you know, areas that don't necessarily have to be major events. We're not talking about it. You have to go to where the Gettysburg battles happened and stuff like that. I mean, anything that's got some history behind it is probably going to have some sort of unsettlements. You take Afghanistan. There has been so much blood on that
yes,
soil that you go all the way back to Alexander the Great.
yep.
He got his ass kicked on that soil. And so you go back to that time period, man, and I imagine that over there, if you could get it to settle down for a few minutes, you could probably find some unrested souls over there.
Well, not only that, but you've got the stories of the redheaded giant in the right outside. I think it was Kandahar.
Hmm.
Um, what is that? A Nephilim? And I go into stuff like that on my podcast, but I mean, you know, it's crazy because that place is ancient. Like, well, as soon as you boots on ground, you're like, something ain't right here.
Yeah,
This is a weird feeling.
it
So,
is completely
yeah,
different, man. And no matter what season you get there, it welcomes your ass.
yes, it does. That was Iraq did the same thing when I was there in '03 for the invasion.
Mhm.
Okay, it welcomed us with some of the worst sandstorms in a century.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder if
Yep.
some of them people had some magic abilities or something.
I would venture to guess that on that topic of Iraq,
Yeah.
I can imagine. So you've seen all the shows where people go into like the old prisons and shit like that. Can you
Yep.
imagine if you went into some of those prisons that Saddam had,
Oh,
what you would find? There's probably some resentful asses there.
yep. Yep. And I mean, we use what we call trigger objects, something that we take in that the people would relate to. All you got to do is take a pistol in because that was Saddam's thing. Like
Yeah,
nobody in Iraq was afraid of a rifle, but you get a shiny pistol, they're terrified. So,
no,
and I
yeah,
mean,
makes sense.
yeah,
I you know there's the spirit that we need to come across is Mr. Old Saddam.
yeah,
Just long enough to say, okay, it is true. You are actually dead. Okay, got it.
right. And like, yeah, we'll get old Osama bin Laden. I mean, if he
Yeah,
talks like he's underwater, then we know.
yeah. I don't buy that story neither, man.
Not one bit.
For the listeners out there that don't know that story, the amazing president we had tried to convince us that after he was killed, we put him on a boat and chucked his ass in the ocean.
Yeah,
Got it. Makes
sure we
sense.
did. Yeah,
Carried him from Pakistan over to the ocean.
right. I
Yeah.
mean, no, not at all. I don't believe that one bit.
No, and there's a bunch of conspiracies to that. I personally think he was dead way before then, but we had to come up with a reason that we were leaving. Mission's complete. We succeeded.
Yeah,
That doesn't end very well if you say, "Oh yeah, he died 5 years ago of fucking, you know, uh,
right.
kidney failure."
Yeah, because that whole dialysis story kind of got swept under the rug there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the dude's on dialysis in a cave. Just say
There's a
right,
bat holding his IV bag up.
right. All of his suicide bombers are there. They're waiting their turn, but they got to hold the old blood
Yep,
bag or whatever. Yeah, I believe that 100%.
yep. Me too, man. So let's dig into some of these investigations, man. What is one that really sticks out in your mind?
Well, I'll tell you, a good one that I did was I did a private investigation at Trans Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. Um, Basically, we had the whole place to ourselves for 8 hours, and there was some really cool stuff. especially down in the lobotomy recovery room. I'm chasing after like 7 foot tall shadow people that are walking. It was intense. I've got I have some video that I should have sent of some of my adventures, but that place was pretty cool. We got a bunch of EVPs, and for those of you listening that don't know what EVP is, electronic voice phenomenon. It's where you take like a digital recorder, you set it up, and you can, in theory, record a disembodied spirit voice. And I believe it because I've heard it, but a bunch of that. But I'll tell you, the big one that I'm looking forward to, and since you mentioned it, is Gettysburg. I'll be in Gettysburg in July. We have rented a farmhouse from the 1700s that's on 82 acres of land on the Confederate side, half a mile from Little Round Top, and that's just where we're staying. There's a paranormal convention called the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash that I'm going to, which I do want to give a shout out to the Berries. They're the ones that run the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash. All proceeds go to veterans and
That is
veteran
awesome.
organization. So yeah, it's worthwhile. It's going to be the first year that I've gone, and I've already been asked to be a speaker for next year. So that's and anytime that we can do ghost hunting and help veterans, oh, I'm 100% there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good cause, and I'm looking forward to that because I haven't been to Gettysburg since I was a kid. So never investigated Gettysburg. Sorry, my necklaces are choking me here.
Well, I could tell you, I've seen episodes from other investigators that have been there, and
Yep.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff that they seen.
Yes.
Talking about spirits just off in the grass.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I've seen that video when they're focused in the woods, and you see
Yep.
the yeah. And plus, I had family members that were there. My
Really?
great grandfather, John Wesley Cannon, was the last surviving member of Orr's Rifles. Orr's Rifles was considered uh, Confederate Black Ops.
Okay.
Um, oh, well, for that time, they just did more guerrilla warfare. So that could,
Yeah, they didn't have to
but
stand there and wait. Okay, you missed. My turn to shoot.
right. No, it wasn't. Yeah, they didn't do the whole lineup thing. It was, yeah,
Can you think about while we're on that topic, Dave? Because I think about that stuff all the time
you do.
about how much our fighting. I mean, did it really take somebody to say, "Okay, we're going to line up here"? We're sending a messenger now to let them know that they have to line up too. They're not allowed to
Right.
try to flank us. All right, you just line up. You shoot, we shoot. Last man standing, gets to go home.
Yeah,
I
that was dumb.
Yeah, it
Well,
makes you wonder, where does that come from?
well, I mean, it goes back to the phalanx and stuff of the Roman military, but their lines were like nasty vicious. So yeah, for those of you listening, so you've got the front line with the shields.
Yep.
Behind the guys with the shields are the pikemen, and they come in with the long spike. Well, behind the pikemen was a guy, and his job was to, when the line goes up, he steps on all the bodies and just stabs them in the eye or the head. Can you imagine? I
Yeah.
mean, wow.
And then you still got another row of people with arrows and everything
Yeah,
else.
yeah. It's just
I mean, that makes a lot more sense than okay, when you're done shooting, squat down so I can shoot.
yeah, really. Like I never wondered like why didn't okay, you got the front line of the muskets. Why not just put the next musket right out the side and shoot? Uh, they did. There's a wall of. Uh,
I don't
thank
think
God for General Lee.
Yeah, I don't think there was much commissioning needing to be done back then. No college degree questions were asked.
I don't know, not at all. Like I think the main question the generals is, do you have fake teeth?
Yeah,
Yes. You come on.
yeah, you're good.
Yeah, we're
Yep,
good.
you can afford. You got money, so come on.
Yep, come on. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know, man. We lived in some. Well, we didn't live, but I mean, our history has some interesting times. You know,
Yes.
especially you think about that. You know, we were not stupid when it came to fighting for our independence.
No.
You know, we were completely outnumbered. We were completely out equipped,
Yep.
and we still won. And you're talking about people from both sides was on, you know, that came originally from there. It wasn't like just Union soldiers came from the 1776 fight. That came from a bunch
Yep.
of people that spread it out afterwards, you know.
Yep.
So to not have any you know, no lessons learned from that war, you know, we're going to do it a different way. That way worked. We're going to try something completely different.
Well, that's why the South had such good strategy. Is the South learned guerrilla warfare from the natives,
That
and
makes sense.
that's when the tide started turning from conventional to guerrilla warfare. It just took forever to implement it, more than the Minutemen and things.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're a scholar of war, it's just amazing how it has progressed,
Yeah.
and the fact that an Asian gentleman 5 million years ago writes a book that's still like 100% on today.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually a requirement to read that book when you go to any of the military academies,
Yes,
you
it
know?
is. Yep.
So, I think it's a book that everybody should read, to be
I
honest.
Yep. And in that book, if you don't know what we're talking about, it's The Art of War by
Yep,
Sun Tzu.
yep,
Great book.
yep, and you can even get it on audio in English, so you're winning.
Winning.
So, let me ask you this, man. When when you go into these, right, and you get total access, right? You see it in other shows, but I you know, I know some of that has to be for TV purposes, you know. So when you go in, what how do you set things up and what is your priorities?
Okay, so and to dispel the myth of TV, no, you don't walk in and 30 minutes later your equipment starts screaming. That's not how that works. I'll tell you, ghost hunting is super boring until it's not. But I set up like some of the equipment that you see on the shows. Actually, a lot of the equipment on the Discovery Plus shows, Ghost Brothers, Portals to Hell, and all that. We make that equipment for them. Um,
Oh, great.
I work with Supernatural Inc. out of Kansas City, and we make spirit boxes and spirit equipment. We do all of Jack Osborne's stuff. Um, so we're heavy on the equipment side, but I mean, I use everything from my body. Like, this is the best instrument. And I mean, anybody in the military knows, like, when something's wrong,
Yeah.
or, or when something's about to happen. So I use my feelings, then I go with the equipment. I'm like, okay, feels like there's some energy in this room. Let's set up stuff, see what happens. Um, but I use just about all the same equipment that you see on TV, except for the portal. I don't use that.
What about like temperature drops and stuff like that? Is that accurate as well?
I believe so. Personal opinion. Now, a lot of ghost hunts, personal opinion. We're not going to know till we're dead, you know.
Right.
But I do believe temperature drops, because the theory behind that is they're using the energy surrounding them to try to manifest. Well, you know, when you take on energy, it leaves cold spots,
Yeah.
and I've seen 20-degree shifts. And when you get something like that, like anything below a 5-degree shift, I really don't pay attention to,
Yeah.
because I'm in old houses
Yep.
or in caves or whatever. But 5-degree automatic shift and up, yeah, I really pay attention to that.
So when you're using your body, right, and your instincts, and you feel that sense that, hey man, there's something has changed here. It's not like it used to be. Um, when you it is like the first thing that you do is try to get a response, or are you more so just kind of testing the areas, then setting up equipment, and then going back in and trying to get the responses?
So we usually do an initial walkthrough
Hmm.
during the day, and you'll see that on the shows too, where you've got like a K2 meter, or I use EDI system,
Hmm.
which measures electromagnetic field, temperature, vibration, everything all in one box. And then we'll go through and see if there's any spikes anywhere during the day. Uh, and that's where usually we'll focus. So, yeah, I walk in, I figure out like what's up, and then we go back and we meet and we all talk and like, hey, I felt something here, I felt something here. Cool. Let's get the equipment. Let's look at what we need, and then we go set up. Your the cameras systems, but I always have a digital recorder with me
Hmm.
and keep it running because you never know. Usually, you get the best evidence when you're not expecting it.
That would make sense.
Yeah. So I definitely take equipment with me, but I don't get the big stuff out until after like the initial walkthrough and when it gets dark and lights out. And I do want to say this: why do ghost hunters hunt at night? And do ghosts only come out at night? And the answer is no. If a place is haunted, you can get it in the daytime. The only reason we wait till night is there's less traffic out, less people out to contaminate. So
Yeah.
that's the reason why we wait till so late.
Yeah, I mean, that would make perfect sense. Yeah, I never thought about that until you just said that. So that,
Yep.
man, actually, it is, because that's where you see all of them. It's always at night.
Yep.
They do the walkthrough like you said,
Yep.
and then next thing you know, the sun's down and they're
Yeah.
watching cameras, and everybody's walking through talking to themselves. Yeah.
Because, I mean, because when you go lights out, it takes away camera lens flares
Yep.
or reduces it. Doesn't take it away, but reduces it. That's why we go with infrared lighting as opposed to regular luminary lighting.
Hmm.
So that way, our night vision is not uh, messed up.
Hmm.
And plus, the lens flares and shadows and all that gets taken away. So we try to keep it as minimal distractions as possible. Now, I've caught some really good stuff during the day, but that's out at locations that there's no highway near. People wouldn't be walking around.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's the main reason why you always see it at night. It's not because we like to stay up all night because I hate it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not a night person either, man.
No.
I would be that ghost you caught during the day. I promise you.
Yeah, I would. I definitely I'd be the ghost that if you're taking a shower, I'm taking your towel.
Yeah.
I'd be that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Come up with a way to put Nair in your shampoo.
something. Yeah. Damn it, Brandon. Yeah,
That's
I'm still around.
that's what I always told everybody. I said, if I die and become a ghost, the cheerleaders of the Bengals are going to have to move somewhere else because I'm going to scare the shit out of
Attaboy. I like that.
them. So, with you living there in South Kakalaki, man, um, we all know how haunted Savannah is, right?
Yeah,
Savannah, Georgia. Have you done anything down there?
not yet. I'm waiting. Actually, can we pause this for just a second?
Yeah.
I gotta get my.
Fine.
So, no, I haven't been to Savannah yet at all. Actually, I haven't even. I don't even think I've driven through Savannah.
I will tell you. So, I took my daughter for her 16th birthday and did some of those ghost tours and stuff down there.
Yep.
And you know, I don't know how much of it is that you want to see something, but both of us were like, "Oh, what is that? What is that?"
Yep.
But the stories behind them, man, is so interesting. Um, not so much about whether you see a ghost or not, but just to hear the history about the things that happened in those areas,
Oh yeah.
And I seen one on TV. I wish I could remember where this bar was, man, but it was there somewhere closer to like Tybee Island, and it was a bar that had where the pirates and everybody would use the underground, and it went all the
Hmm.
way out in the ocean. So they would come in, and then they would come up through to have drinks or whatever, and they ended up making it a restaurant or something. I think it is now, but they in that show that I was watching. God, I wish I could remember the name of which one it was, but there was some interesting stuff that came from that, you
Oh
know.
yeah.
And I'm sure there's been some slayings that happened over a bed or over a drink or over a girl.
Oh, of course. I mean, it's pirates, and that's another thing that I love about the South because we had pirates. I
Yep.
mean, Blackbeard retired to South Carolina.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, but there are plans in the works to go to Savannah with some of my I guess we call them paranormal celebrity friends.
Hmm.
Um, so that's on the books, and so is New Orleans. Like I haven't been to
Yeah.
New Orleans.
There's another one.
Yeah, so that's in the works. I have a couple friends that are voodoo priests and priestesses, and they're gonna come out with us, and you know
That will be interesting.
it's fun, man. And I'm a Christian. Okay, I'm a Christian. I believe Jesus died on the cross. He rose again for my sins. But that's where my religion ends. I don't believe in the regular churches.
Mhm.
Um, but I mean, I do respect all religions.
Yeah.
And who's to say that voodoo don't work? I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you. Look, you can't. You either are all in or you don't believe at all. There,
Yep,
anybody that says that picks and chooses what they want to believe, you can't believe they're supernatural and then say there's no such thing as psychics.
exactly.
Yeah, you just can't do it. You
No.
either believe in UFOs or you don't.
Yep.
You know, you can't say, well, that's odd. It must have came from space, but there is no UFOs. You
Yeah,
know,
you can't. There's no gray area in,
no.
like Bigfoot. He either exists or he doesn't.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
tend to believe that he exists.
I
So,
again, I can't believe in spirits and I can't believe in UFOs and then say there's no such thing as the Loch Ness monster. There's, you,
right.
you we are still identifying species in the ocean.
Oh,
Why is it that
and in
is
the
it,
Amazon.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I do believe, and I had a psychic on my show, man, and I can't remember. I'm like you, man, can't remember shit. But
Yep.
I can't remember her name, but she said something to me that I was like, that's it. She's real. That's the real deal. And when she explained to me the way heaven works and everything else from her point of view, not from
Right.
a preacher's point of view, right?
Yep.
Now she was a medium, is what she was, and she says that she can cross over and that it happened from a suicide attempt,
Hmm.
and she went over and she crossed over and basically got said, "Not yet, man. Take your ass back,"
Yep.
and and sent her back. And since that day, she's been able to cross over back and forth, and she believes it's because there's lessons that they want people to learn, right? And
Yep.
she says that there's dimensions to heaven, and that she can only see the beginning, that she can only get to the fifth dimension, which is
Yeah.
the very entrance, right?
Yep.
And so I asked the same question. We got on the topic of UFOs, and she said they do exist. And I said, really? I said, so UFOs go to heaven? She says, the person I talked to has told me from what planet he's from. He said, she said, do you really think that when God made mankind, that we're all he made?
Yep.
And I said, well, so that means there is a God. She said, absolutely, there's a God. She said,
100%.
regardless of what you want to call him, there is a creator.
Yep.
And so when she put it that way, man, I'm like, I agree. You know, unfortunately, nobody really knows because the Bible and everything else has been translated so much. You know,
Right.
in 30 years from now, nobody's going to know Fort Bragg from Fort Liberty.
Oh,
You
that's
know?
yeah.
And it's just because we're going to change it, and then generations go by, and that's just going to be what it was. In 1776, Fort Liberty was where it all began at.
Right. And yeah,
Whatever you
no.
want to teach at that point. And so we don't know how many times. There's so many different things that goes against what the Bible says. You know, science is saying now that they believe something major happened and that there was an intelligent civilization that was wiped out on Earth.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes more than it's like several 100,000 years old. But if you look at some translations of the Bible, the Earth's only like 6,000
Yeah.
years old. That's not. I don't go with that.
Well, no, I mean,
Maybe this civilization's 6,000 years old,
yeah,
but
right, right.
yeah,
And there's carbon dating already of animals that woolly mammoths and stuff like
hmm
that were never supposed to be where they're at. Cyber tooth tigers, none
yep,
of those were ever supposed to be up there in Alaska. But there's a guy that's got um, thousands of. He's already expanded to two warehouses filled full of these tusks and
yep,
and everything else. And some of them have been carbon dated older than what the Bible says we are.
yeah. And same in Antarctica, they're finding woolly mammoths down there,
Yeah,
and according to science, before all the shifts happened, it was the Antarctica was a very tropical
yeah.
place, you know. And then that gets us to let's just talk about global warming and the elephant in the room.
The woolly mammoth.
I don't believe that it's global warming because my God, we're coming out of an ice age technically.
Yeah,
12,600 years ago was the Younger Dryas period, and it was our second um, global freeze. And it's funny because if you look at places in India that date to 12,600 years ago, like they came out of the ice age and they were already doing agriculture and building all these massive intricate structures. So yeah,
yeah. No, I completely agree, brother. And at the end of the day, unfortunately, a lot of people have to believe by people that are using other influences to get you to believe that they know.
yeah,
Reality is just like you said, until we die, we're never going to know if there really is ghosts.
right.
I do believe that once we die, we're also going to know what really happened.
hmm
You all those answers will be given, and I do believe in reincarnation. So I do believe that after you die, your spirit is put back in, and it starts over again. You become
Yeah,
somebody else.
and then talking about ancient histories and stuff. When we look at the Anunnaki from Egypt, they were the interdimensional or aliens
Mhm.
that is mentioned a lot. And then they're the ones that taught agriculture and all this. Well, then you go from Egypt to South America. Let's look at the Aztecs.
Yeah,
Their Quetzalcoatl was supposedly a 7 foot tall white dude with a red beard that came over and taught them how to do it.
yeah.
Well, where did he come from?
Well, it wasn't on a boat because there wasn't boats at that time.
Exactly.
And you couldn't have walked there because, again, can't swim the ocean.
No.
So, and if you look at all the drawings, there's a lot of stuff that insinuate that they were, at least, if nothing else, if you don't want to believe in UFOs, you have to at least admit that in that time frame, those people were very interested in something in the sky.
Yep.
Whether it just be like, what are all those bright things up there, or whether or not UFOs did come down and they were waiting for them. Like, okay, what's next? Do we water it every day? You know, what?
Right.
Come back and tell us, man. We did it. What's happening here?
Well, and another prime example in Africa, the Dogon tribe. They have extensive knowledge of they say there's 3 Sirius Canis stars, and they said that like from the first contact that was made with I guess whoever went down there to see them. So they told the what I don't what do they call people that go into tribes and try to convert them?
Oh, missionary.
Missionaries.
Yep,
So they
missionary.
had told the missionaries, and so the missionaries had wrote it down, and it was 20 or 30 years later that science discovered the second Sirius Canis star. So how do they know about this stuff?
Yeah.
You know,
Well, they didn't get on a space shuttle. You know, if there was no boats, they definitely didn't know how to get to outer space. So
right?
something
Or
something
or
had to come to
or,
them.
or did they? Were they given some stargates or something?
I
I
mean, so
mean,
if the theory is accurate that there was other intelligent life and then something major happened that wiped that out and they basically had to start all over, then yeah. The only
mhm,
part about that I have a an issue with, right, is let's say it was an ice age, right? And let's
yeah,
say they did have intelligent life and they had vehicles and they had whatever, right? You know, how come we haven't found any of that stuff? Why have we if you know there's we found evidence that they use tools, but why have we not found any of the tools?
exactly.
You know? So and that is the weird part. But that would also make sense if, you know, they had the ability to use their mind to do things, you know, levitation and stuff like that. You know?
Right.
I do not believe those blocks were put up there by sticks. I I can tell you that much.
Well, and there's a lot that can be said about frequencies and tones.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
a lot of work being done with levitation of water droplets with just uh, ultrasonic sound waves.
Yeah.
So who's to say that they didn't get? Because a lot of these temples are set for certain frequencies when you sing in them, or there's a hole that you're supposed to sing in, and it does a certain frequency.
Yep.
So, I mean, could they have used frequency technology back then? Sure. Who am I to say? I mean, there's evidence of a nuclear meltdown in Egypt too,
Yeah.
where the stone steps have melted, and the only way that that could have happened is from a nuclear explosion.
Well, and you know, if you take some of these pictures in certain areas in the Egypt and the desert areas and so forth, you know, there's evidence of erosion from water.
Yeah, especially around the Sphinx. Yes.
So
Yeah.
I don't I think we are just tapping the knowledge area, you know.
Right.
And I do believe it's kind of slowed down a little bit with this period that we're in where everybody has to be right and if you think you're right, I'm going to prove to you that I'm right instead of, you know, everybody coming together and dismissing and brainstorming and coming up with new ideas because that's the only way you're going to get anywhere.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of good people out there that are being discontinued because they have theories. Well, everything starts as a theory.
Well, yeah, and people that have been disconnected, shall we say? Let's look at all the hydrogen uh, cars that were invented, and
Yeah,
there's proof, but where did the guy go?
yeah,
Don't know.
yeah, yeah. You know, um, Hillary suicided him.
Anyway, yes,
Yeah. Well, brother, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna bring you forward, man. Tell everybody where they can find you and where some of these upcoming events are that you're gonna be at, so that maybe they can come out to them. I'm gonna try to make some as we've been saying. So if nothing else, I definitely want to go on a ghost hunt with you at some point. So if that opportunity becomes available, please let me know because I would
Well,
love.
I mean, we've got that one in Missouri coming up, but I will give you all of the cool details. And
Yeah,
yeah, definitely, I'd love for you to come on a ghost hunt. Like I say, I don't know if I mentioned, but I'm trying to come up with the Veterans Paranormal Project um, to get more veterans out and enjoying the paranormal. So there
I
may
think
be
I think that'd be amazing.
opportunity.
So,
So,
well, I'm gonna bring you forward, man. Tell everybody where your ats are, and like I said, where they can find. I've had your podcast going down there, but I know you're in a lot more places than just Spotify.
yeah. So check me out. The easiest way on all platforms at Shaman Sundays. Check out my YouTube. I have all of my past episodes there on my YouTube, plus other paranormal podcasts that I produce. Check it out. Um, you can also find me. Just look up Brandon Cooper. I have a personal page on there, and then I think I think. Oh, check me out on Gunroom Radio on Ranger Rockwave, rocking with a shaman every Wednesday from 3 to 4:30 Eastern, and maybe more coming up. So yeah, you can find me just about all over the place.
And I'm gonna tell y'all, man, he has changed wonders on that station. So y'all definitely go check him out. I try to listen as long as my job will let me to, and they leave me alone during those hours. But I try to listen as much as I can because I enjoy it, man. You do an
Yeah,
amazing job DJing. You really do.
man, I appreciate it. I try to have fun, you know.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's what this
and,
project's all about, man.
yeah, and I mean, listen, some of these guys, Souls Worn Thin. We've got Blackberry Jam. We've got Ninth Realm, which is a death metal that we
Yep.
play. Really cool dudes.
Yeah,
So yeah, just check us out. Let's get these veterans out there. Let's get them some gigs, and let's do big things for these guys.
absolutely, man. One of these days we're gonna get all these musicians together and we'll do a ghost hunt with them. You know,
Hey, you
that'd
know
be awesome.
what? We could set up a weekend of ghost hunting with concerts.
That would be amazing.
That's easy to do, man.
Yeah.
Something for us to discuss offline. See what we
Yep.
can come up with.
Absolutely, brother. All right, man. Well, I'm gonna put you in the green room, throw my little exit video out. But I appreciate you coming on, man. And I know you've done so much. We're gonna have to do a part two, brother.
Hey, you know what? It's my honor to be on your show, and I will come back until you need therapy to forget about me. I'll be around, brother.
That's the situation my dog's in already.
I know, right?
My dog needs a therapist.
Oh, my poor service dog. He just looks at me like, "What now?"
Yeah,
Yep,
I'm with you, brother. All right, man. Well, like I said, I appreciate you,
of
and
course.
we'll go and wrap this up. All right. Whoa, that was weird. All right, let me fix that. There we go. I don't know, that changed. Anyways, so as I continue and in the show, I wanted to talk about some key points, some things that we made, right? You know, even whether you believe, you don't believe, you have to be able to see how something like this can help people that are struggling, you know, with PTSD and just getting untied from your phone and spending the night in a place like that to find something or not find something, either way. But the fact is that you're with friends, there's some camaraderie, and your mind is relaxed for that period. So I want y'all to take care, man. Y'all have a great day. Don't forget, don't let the day kick your ass. Kick the day's ass.